It is our penultimate episode of season 4. Today's episode, better than the O'Neill thing. Yes, with a picture beside me of Brendan O'Neill's ever-expanding massive forehead. It's a 4-paper show today. We're going to have The Sun, The Times, The Daily Mail, and The Telegraph. I'll try and do a speed round through The Telegraph. That's always funny to you because it's extremely difficult to flip through its massive pages without some sort of paper butler. Hey, Slinkmeyer, how are you doing? I hope you are feeling better today. So you're feeling a bit down via your Instagram. By the way, if you're watching the show and you've not checked out Slinker's photography on Instagram, do go and check it out. Same username. Anyway, yes, hello and welcome to the show, episode 68. We're going to start with The Sun. We will move on to the speed run through the Telegraph. Then it will be The Times and the Daily Mail. Sort of a classic lineup for our penultimate show. The bonus episode that was going to happen on Friday will now happen at some point at the weekend. Who knows when? Mystery. But I will let you know. In the meantime, it's a normal show today, so let's get it done. We're going to start with The Sun, as you can see, and then rattle our way through. Let's see who's in the room at the moment. Apparently just me, according to the stream chat, but that could be clearly not. Something says, yeah, okay, so you're doing better today. That's good. Okay, right. Let's start with The Sun. Front page of The Sun. Spain and France holes on. So that's the briefing from the government that, yes, people are going to be able to travel to Spain and France for their holidays. Much more of that covered in the Telegraph, the Times and the Mail to come. Also, a story we're going to see across all the papers today is the bronze medal in the skating. And the main story from The Sun, world exclusive tour drama. Charlie Watts, an 80-year-old man, has had to have an operation, so is not going to be on the Rolling Stones tour, at least for the start of it. Incredible shock news as a man in his 80s has a health issue, which, due to the fact that he is extremely wealthy, has been caught and apparently sorted out fine. On page 2, Tories break on petrol cars ban. Rebels demand U-turn. They don't want petrol cars to be banned in 2030. Boris Johnson has given a police dog a pat on the head yesterday. And the headline is, Pat's not Dylan, says PM. The PM, oh God, who cares? Who cares? Anyway, he was talking last week about the fact that his dog likes to shag people's legs, like dog-like owner. Polly 1787 says, best musician in the Rolling Stones. Love Charlie Watts. He is an amazing drummer. That is a fact. Good to see you, Polly. Hope you're doing well. On page 3, Stars, Fortune, Rockets. £1 billion. Rihanna is wealthiest woman in pop. And this is an excuse to show Rihanna in her bikini because, of course, it's page 3, but not page 3. Production of Top Gear is shifting from London to Bristol. I mean, fine, whatever. Sky Brown's bronze medal win is big news, of course. Sky's the limit is the headline. Teen star has £4 million deal and 1 million Instagram followers. She had a serious injury in 2020. Didn't think she would make the Olympics, but at 13 years old, she has become Britain's youngest Olympian. She is a badass. Bento says, uneasy about this child. Are you? Okay, why is that? On page 7, sympathy for the old devil is the headline on their further coverage of Charlie Watts being out of action for a while due to recovering from a operation. Dominic Cummings has claimed that he was offered a peerage by Downing Street. A Downing Street source says the claim is not true. Headline, Lord Dominic, never a chance. I fully believe that Boris Johnson offered him a peerage to keep him quiet. I would not be surprised about that at all. On page 9, the first of our 4 papers doing an absolutely pathetic breakdown of the things that are in the Duchess of Sussex's study. The headline, Meg's clown prince, Harry juggles in 40th birthday video. And The Sun calls it a cringy woke video. Everything's woke, according to them. Fry Bentos says, "Car comes from money, so I'm jealous." Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. It turns out a lot of Olympians actually have quite a lot of family money when you look into it. On pages 10 and 11, model as quarantine binned for 2 jabbers. Spain reigns again, and mainly without pain is the headline. That is a stretch, really, isn't it? And of course, they cover plans for the vaccine rollout to move on to 12 to 15-year-olds. On page 13, posh frock like horror doll. Literally, Posh Spice was Victoria Beckham was shown wearing a white dress, and they've decided that it's similar to the dress worn by Annabelle in the Conjuring films. It's really not. It's almost as if having hereditary wealth is a privilege. Imagine, yeah. Why is petrol miles more pricey than it should be? Asked The Sun. Oh God, Rod Liddle is awful. And if you want to know specifically why Rod Liddle is awful, do read today's newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. Broken Bottle Boy. When I come back with season 4, I'm going to have this set up so that I don't have to type these in, and it's all a lot more automated and cool. I'm just going to ask GetStation how to actually make that happen. Anyway, Rod Liddle's awful. If you want to find out why, go to brokenbottleboy.substack.com. Today's newsletter is pretty much a kind of agglomeration of various terrible columnists, including Sarah Vine and others, but in an interesting way, I hope. Rod Liddle is apparently on GB News at the moment, smoking away. Oh, well, there we go. On pages 16 and 17, they talk to Denise Van Outen, who says, "Sometimes I think, hark at me, 47 and still getting into fishnets." She looks very well for 47, and she seems nice enough. I enjoy her and her boyfriend appearing on Celebrity Gogglebox. On page 18, 700 go the wrong way on motorway. A shocking 721 drivers have gone the wrong way on the motorway in the past 5 years. Hang on, if you break that down, it's not that many, is it? They include motorists who reversed or made U-turns in the main lanes and those who got slip roads all wrong. Could it be that the way those road signs are working may have a role in it? Possibly, but don't expect common sense or nuance from The Sun. They consider nuance to be an obscure town in France. There's pictures of Ant McPartlin and Declan Donnelly Ant and Deck golfing. They'll pop up in a few papers. On page 19, big brekkie star in show. It takes a doo-doo to tango. Telly host AJ Adudu is joined by McFly guitarist Tom Fletcher and top comedian Robert Webb as the first celebs to be revealed for this year's Strictly. Fine. I'm not a huge fan of Strictly, if I'm honest. I rarely watch more than maybe 10 minutes of the show across the whole season. There is some absolutely appalling coverage of a professional footballer who took his own life. Once again, the Sun fails to abide by the Samaritan's guidelines on how you report on suicides. It's not a surprise. I'm not going to read the copy because I'd only be repeating that, but just to say, as ever, the Sun managing to completely report in a irresponsible way on that. More than half of British people aged 18 to 24 don't know that the Eiffel Tower is in France, according to a survey. This survey is by who? COVID test firm MedicSpot. Right, these surveys are bullshit, and we know that. On page 20, it's Freedom Lay. Affairs surged by a third since the end of lockdown. And where does this one come from? This is a survey brought to you by... Shock news here. Affairs website Illicit Encounters. In no way could there be, ulterior motives for them coming up with a survey that gives that result. There's a gratuitous picture of Rachel Riley because she's pregnant and walking around outside, which apparently is news. On page 21, cat survives 5-story fall. We stand a good cat. His name is Edward. He fell allegedly fell 5 floors from a tower block, and he's fine. So good on him. What a good cat. I guess that's one of my 9 lives gone is the headline they put on that. Rita Ora is wearing clothes and might be moving out of the UK. Dua Lipa is wearing clothes. And Blake Lively is also wearing clothes. There you go. That's the news from Bazaar. Some people... welder Jack Wilkins fell foul of a prank for an hour during his stag do. He was attached to a post in Basildon Town Centre. Classic bounce. If I had my stag do and my friends did something to massively embarrass me in that way, I would cease to consider them to be friends. Another poll reported as if it's actually news from The Sun. Prospectus Global polled 2,000 people and discovered that most people prefer ketchup is the top condiment. Again, a non-news story, and the third one of those in just 3 pages here. On page 21, Arabella Chi, Amanda Holden and Abby Clancy all wore bikinis. That's been made into a story for some reason. Also on that page, a story that you'll find also on the front page of the Times about Punch and Judy shows where apparently people have been swearing at the performers and shocking children. On page 28, a new film about a woman who claims to be a Holocaust survivor who was taken in by a family of wolves in the 1940s after her parents were arrested by Nazis. Turns out that may in fact be bullshit. Who could have guessed? The headline on that is pretty good, to be honest. Chances with wolves. There's a bullshit story about a Jaws scare at Boscombe Beach. It's completely overblown. 3 brilliant finalists, but you must choose the winner. Vote for the Sun Who Cares Wins Awards. Various doctors and nurses up for that. Can't we just give them all the pay rise? Maya, Punch and Judy shows are dark enough already. Why get offended by naughty words? Precisely that. Agree with you. In the TV, they reviewed Fake or Fortune, and tonight recommend I Am Victoria, Undercover Big Boss, ITV, Buffering, and My Cornwall with Fern Britton. Hey, SK, how you doing? We are just cruising our way through the sun. We've in today's penultimate episode of season 4. We're up to Dear Deirdre. My daughter doesn't want my partner at wedding. I want my young lover, not fiance. I'm with a woman, but keen for man, says another correspondent. No more sex as I'm too big for her. My penis is so big that my girlfriend and I can no longer have sex, writes a man. I'm 28 and she's 26. She says it really hurts her, so she prefers to use her hand to bring me to orgasm. I don't mind that, but it gets boring for both of us, and I'd like us to be able to have intercourse. I know that Mark sometimes says that says that Dear Deirdre gives good advice, and in this case it's not bad advice. But again, I would say if you really do have problems like this, don't write into Dear Deirdre, just go direct to more reputable advice providers. SK is pissed off future employees' background check. Oh, that sucks. Also, fucking background checks. I hate this shit. Fab Daily. People gave me and Vic 2 weeks. 20 years later, we're renewing our vows, writes Nancy Sorrell. Oh, good on her. Wish she wasn't talking about it in the Sun. As a young girl, Rachel Corson regularly suffered burns on her neck and scalp and even had bald patches because of harsh treatments used on her hair. Now she's created a new brand specifically for people with afro hair. It's good. I just wish she wasn't talking about it in the Sun. They need like 3 years of my bank statements to prove I was unemployed, volunteering, self-employed. Yeah, I hate that stuff. I hate it. It's becoming more and more insidious, and it is. It's because government has turned every company into a cop. Coins. Own the brand new 2021 UK Gold Sovereign for just £319, not actual size. In the letters today, Denise Roberts writes, I felt so sorry for the actress Jodie Comer when I read the Sun front page yesterday. The impact of stalking on someone's life is exhausting. I suffered stalking by an ex once, so I speak from experience. Again, written like it's someone in the office, although, you know, obviously stalking is a horrendous thing. In the short letters, Mick from Wrexham, he writes in a lot, says, Sarah Duchess of York is a lovely lady and all the better for accepting she has flaws. RK says, why don't celebrities like Sacha Atwood turn off social media in response to the trolls? And David says, so sad that a 5-year-old boy has died after a large mirror fell on him at a department store in Colchester. The same thing happened at a store at Bicester Village in 2013. I should have thought stores would have learnt their lesson. Now 2 lives have been lost. How many more? The one about turning off social media is almost getting it. Yeah, almost. Yeah, I can understand that temptation as well, SK. Absolutely. Bladder control's ruining my life. Then I discovered BioVit Miracle Cranberry. And now I do thumbs up in the sun. Coins. Obviously loads of betting ads. And in the sport, it escaped Britain and not one but two £100 million deals as Romelu Lukaku looks set to agree a mega money fee with Chelsea to return to Stamford Bridge, and Man City looks set to pay £100 million for Jack Grealish. Stuck in Fangirl, large mirrors, the silent killer no one talks about. Yeah, so that was The Sun. Classically shit edition of The Sun. It's a double negative nice from me. That's a minus 69. And we cruise inexorably towards the Daily Telegraph. Do give me your scores for The Sun, obviously. We cruise to a double negative nice from Slenkermeyer, a classic. Yes, we cruise towards the Daily Telegraph, which we're going to do as a speed run today. This will be a nightmare as ever, but I know you enjoy seeing me flail around with the paper. Hey Google, set timer for 3 minutes.
Sure, 3 minutes, starting now.
Front page of the Daily Telegraph. Delight and despair, your brilliant 12-page Olympic supplement. Brilliant is a dubious word.
Telegraph news update.
Hey Google, stop. Right. Holidays to France back on. Children may be given COVID jabs at school. Oh, no, stop. Go away. Right, I'm going to have to start again because it's interrupted me with this news update. Hey, Google, stop timer.
Okay, cancel.
Hey, Google, stop news update. Right, I'm just going to do it on the phone. Right. Hey Google, stop. I do the updates. Right. It's a nightmare. Technology fail. Here we go. Right. Timer is on. Right. Front page Daily Telegraph. Delight and despair. They're promoting their Olympic supplement, which they claim is brilliant. Holidays to France are back on. Double jab travellers, no need to quarantine and return as rules are eased. Again, as you can see from the yellow, a lot of briefing from the government. Of course, they are snidey about Meghan and her 40th birthday. Meghan marks a milestone. Children may be given COVID jabs at school. Another bit of briefing. UK calm in face of Iran threat, says Raab. Yeah, all right. Hydrogen boilers pose greater risk than gas. I think we already knew that. Migrants in hotels are failing to quarantine. French ready to kiss goodbye to cheek peck. Turns out that's a survey and it's absolutely bullshit. Investment Big Bang challenge to the city. Again, a load of shit. Briefed in by the government. Alistair Heath, Biden's woke America is no longer a model for the world. Alistair Heath there looking like a painted egg. I would get a giant egg timer. That is a good idea. Undercooked England collapse against India. Inside, they do a massive and pointless analysis of Meghan's living room. Netflix is on the box in more than half of households for the first time. Migrants housed in hotels free to escape quarantine because of lax security efforts is the claim. There's a picture of Boris Johnson smirking next to some police officers. Sky's the limit for Britain's 13-year-old medal winner. I mean, she did great. National Trust broke my spirit, says Gardner overlooked for senior job. Therapy culture gives pupils victimhood complex, reports Camilla Turner, the education editor. Fuck off. There is not enough good support for mental health in schools, as anyone who's ever had to deal with CALMS knows. Surge in anti-Semitic hate incidents as lockdown eased is the claim. We are ramping up safeguards, Samaritan chief reassures staff. Minority hospital staff told to use Western-sounding work names. Is that right? Well, combine all that stuff together. Fraud victims denied justice by lack of policing. Taliban chief attacking city was freed in prisoner swap. Minnow among tankers, odd target for hijackers. It's almost as if there's some suspicious things going on there. Greens pledge climate ministry with powerful veto. Syrian arrested in Berlin over grenade attack. War crime. Keeping my ex-husband's name was the natural thing to do, claims Penny Mountbatten. Well, of course it was, because your fucking ex-husband's name was Mountbatten. And she was married to Lord Ivor Mountbatten. Of course she kept the surname. Biden's woke left-wing America is no longer a model for the world. If you want to know what, particularly the flavour of horseshit Alistair Heath is offering today, go to the newsletter. Con Coughlin is just talking shit for the security services again. And I'm just checking how long I've got left. Minute left. Right, there we go. And Y60 is the body satisfaction sweet spot, apparently. Working from home for too long will make you become your oddest self, says Tanya Gold. Or you could just be a British newspaper columnist. That'll do it. In the arts agenda, many stars need elocution lessons, but not Alex Scott, says Ben Lawrence. They will definitely be a Black Mary Poppins one day, says West End director Richard Eyre. And why shouldn't there be? In the business news, electric car charging firm backed by Leahy eyes £5 million float. Favourite, but how fortunate is Murray to fill Ashley's shoes? That's his son-in-law. Future son-in-law is going to take over. And yeah, that's it. Obviously, the sports in another section. There you go. That's the Daily Telegraph with 11 seconds to spare. Starting Fango, people going outside more means more people being hateful outside. Absolutely shocking. Imagine that. There are reliable survey sources out there. Yeah, actually, how much news do they generate from rubbish surveys? Many, many, many. Kamai, the idea of Biden being woke is just fucking beyond. He's the epitome of establishment. Yeah, he is the absolute epitome of establishment. Again, brokenbottleboy.substack.com if you want to read more about why that particular column is fucking insane. And also how Alistair Heath basically repeats the same column that he wrote back in April. Not only are these people reactionary, but they repeat the same ideas over and over again. Anyway, it's Daily Telegraph. It's a classic triple negative nice from me. It's a minus 69, minus 69, minus 69. Now we come to the Times. I hate having to deal with the Telegraph as well. Nightmare. It just ends up in a pile of horrible paper. Starts as a pile of horrible paper, in fact. Okay, the Times. Top of the Times. Skater girl. Olympic glory for teen sensation Sky Brown. Of course. Why men want a body like Obama's. I mean, Obama's in great shape. I'm happy with the body I have, though. I'm trying to make it slightly less Gombe-like, but you know. Private school pupils poised to widen the gap at A-level. Why might that be? It's because their teachers are encouraged to cheat on their behalf. Boost for summer getaways. That's their coverage of this briefing by the government. More Snydery about the Duchess of Sussex and their version of the Punch and Judy story. Mr. Punch cowers from sweary parents. Punch and Judy shows are about domestic violence and make it into a joke. On page 3, birthday Duchess plays it for laughs. Translators who help British abandoned to Taliban revenge is on page 2. Sussex's mould move to New Zealand. That would have been a good idea. New Zealand is a nice place. Meghan Shoemaker faces prison for expenses fraud. Again, it's not her fault, is it? God. Ex-models cult beauty firm sells for £275 million. Alexia Ing co-founded Cult Beauty. The website sells about 300 upmarket beauty brands, and it's being sold to the Hot Group for $275 million. They say Robert Webb to take a peek at life on the Strictly dance floor. That's their coverage of that. It's come out. There's suggestions that Elon Musk ranted and swore at weary staff. No question. Of course they do. Slinker Meyer gives the Telegraph a triple negative nice, but 10 out of 10 for my flailing. Studying Fanker, we stand flails. Yeah, nightmare. It's a nightmare to do the speed run on. I do it purely for the... Not Elon, imagine that. Imagine Elon Musk being a piece of shit. Who could ever have thought that, apart from anyone who's paid attention to anything he's ever done? Sky's the limit as Girl 13 is youngest UK medalist, is their cover of that. The British boxer who got a silver medal said he's not going to celebrate it because he wanted to do better. I mean, that's up to him, but a silver medal is a great achievement. Sailing gold puts family in a very exclusive club. Equestrian star plans a golden wedding ceremony. Britain's newly crowned Olympic show rugby champion, Ben Maher, is planning to welcome 2 special guests to his wedding this month, a gold medal and his wonder horse, Explosion W. The horse did most of the work, let's be fair. On page 9, please, Boris, save my Geronimo. More on the alpaca who is facing almost certain death. I bet you Boris Johnson ensures that he doesn't die in order to get a little bit of easy publicity. National Trust broke Gardner's spirit is the claim. An ex-gardener at Sir Winston Churchill's former home has described how the National Trust completely broke my spirit during a 3-year battle that ended with her being awarded nearly £50,000 in compensation. Claire Bryant, 63, was constructively unfairly dismissed by the charity when she works as a kitchen gardener at Chartwell Country House in Kent, which is owned and run by the Trust, a tribunal ruled. She was on the brink of a nervous breakdown due to the horrendous treatment by managers. She felt victimised after defending the length of her colleagues' tea breaks and said she had been subjected to a humiliating interview for a role as a senior gardener. Bryant, who was employed at Chartwell for 5 years before resigning in June 2018, took legal action after she was rejected for a job in favour of a man who had scored much lower than her during the interview process. Ooh, bad news. Bad news there. If you're going to do scoring and you've got a record, it's very bad. Yeah, National Trust being dicks, never. Imagine that. Dr. Festi says, the way the media hypes up Olympic performance is ridiculous. If they get gold, it's amazing, fantastic, wonderful. But they miss gold and get silver, bronze, it's all fallen apart, dreams evaporated, 5 years of training for nothing. Getting any medal is a huge achievement. Just being there is an achievement. Yeah, agreed. London's worst attraction tries again with free tickets, the Marble Arch Mound. And if you want to know more about this, do listen to one of the latest episodes of Trash Feature. The Marble Arch Mound, the doomed London tourist attraction, which was closed after it opened to widespread derision, will open as a free experience. The £2 million artificial hill, which boasted of its views over Hyde Park and Oxford Street, was intended to attract visitors back to the West End. But after being labelled the worst attraction in London, the Mound, which was commissioned by Westminster City Council, closed to everyone except those who had bought online tickets in advance. People can now book free tickets for next week instead of spending between £4.50 and £8. Yeah, no shit. Should have been free already. It's stupid and crappy. Jabs for all over 12s as doctors criticise shambolic about turn. Rising teen cases spread antibodies to 94% of adults. Dating app offers free therapy to women who suffer sex assaults. This is interesting. The dating app Bumble is to start offering free therapy sessions for people who've experienced sexual assault after using its service, becoming the first such platform to do so. That's deeply fucked up in many ways. Video shows distress of spiked teen. A mother has been sharing video of her teenage daughter writhing around in a hospital bed after she's apparently spiked with drugs in a nightclub. Seems like a very odd thing for a mother to do, frankly. Work that inspired Picasso, the copycat. Pablo Picasso's maxim that lesser artists borrow, while the greater ones steal, is illustrated in Britain with a historic pairing of 2 artworks. National Gallery is collaborating with an American institution to show for the first time Picasso's Woman with a Book side by side with Madame Moitessier by Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres. Picasso's 1932 painting, which is held by the Norton Simon Museum in California, was inspired by Ingres's work in 1856, which the Spanish artist had seen a decade earlier and is in the collection of the National Gallery. I mean, you can hardly say he ripped it off. The inspiration's there, but come on. Only London can tout an artificial hill as an attraction. It's flat as a pancake, after all. Studying Fangirl, has anyone considered teaching men not to sexually assault women? Imagine that. Imagine that. It's a radical suggestion. Baroness wins £2 million court battle against Swindler, a disgraced lawyer, Swindler, and an aristocratic dressage rider at a £2.1 million life savings, a judge has found. Baroness Jacqueline Van Zoylen that sounds like a Trash Future invented name, doesn't it? Told the High Court she had sleepless nights after trusting money to Rodney Whiston Jew, again, sounds invented, to invest on her behalf in 2012. Whiston Jew, 70, was struck off as a solicitor after being jailed in 2017 for his role in a £65 million tax scam. He was described in court as a persuasive, impressive, and a Svengali. Van Zoylen sued for return of her $2.1 million, which included a divorce payment, and the same in damages. Judge Nicholas Tommel ruled on Wednesday that Whiston Jew had perpetrated acts of deceit and was responsible for reimbursing his client. He claimed he did not have access to the money, having invested it, and had encouraged Van Zoylen to rein in her extraordinary spending habits. Van Zoylen, who lives in the Cotswolds, was the third wife of Baron Thierry Van Zoylen, a scion of Dutch nobility who made a fortune in banking. They split after the Baron's death before the Baron's death in 2011, and Van Zoylen settled in the village of Little Farringdon. The High Court heard that the Baroness was financially unsophisticated and was persuaded to transfer her savings via solicitors to GBT Global, an offshore company of which Whiston Jew was a director. She also gave him power of attorney to deal with her affairs. In 2017, she asked for the money to be returned. That year, Whiston Jew was jailed for 10 years for his role in the £65 million tax avoidance scam. After the judge's ruling, a barrister for the disgraced lawyer said he was technically made bankrupt during the trial. He may still be liable to pay back the money when his bankruptcy expires. There are some big hills in London, yeah. This is a society where posters that pop up around Christmas have to say, hey, women, don't get drunk, be careful. And can't say, hey, men, how about you don't sexually assault people? Yeah. Cummings Carey was driving Johnson crackers. Again, you can't trust him on many things, but I believe him on that one. Sunak joins the latest Tory trend for a summer staycation. Fuck off. Quentin Letts is awful. He can fuck off. Adults spend a third of the day watching TV. Again, a survey which, or figures from Ofcom which are self-reported, and I don't truly believe. The BFI's new season celebrating Betty Davis will struggle to capture how big a character she was off screen as well as on screen, chiefly in her rivalry with Joan Crawford. Davis's biographer George Perry says she never forgave Crawford for marrying her paramour. At a dinner party long after Crawford's death, Davis tore into her with usual venom, Perry tells TMS. The host said, but Betty, she left us a couple of years ago. Davis snarled back, just because she's dead doesn't mean she's become a better person. I'm here for that. Defense chief condemns reckless Iran. Anything Goes gets 5 stars. That's at the Barbican. Penguins may be extinct by the end of the century is the bad news. Lords come to bat for female pioneer. Rachel Hayhoe Flint is to be honoured for her role as a cricket pioneer with a gate named after her at Lords. Despite opposition from some members of the cricket club that owns the ground, well, fuck the MCC. It's full of old fucks, frankly. Slinkermeyer fully stands spite. I do too. Colonial has Boer War Memorial to be updated. A memorial paying tribute to 370 soldiers who died in the Boer War to be given a new interpretation by Newcastle Council after claims the conflict was a colonialist enterprise. It was. The council included the 122-year-old monument, which locals call the Mucky Angel, in a review of the city's public statues and street names. The review was a response to the Black Lives Matter protest last summer and was sensibly done. While no sites were found to have links to slavery, the council decided that several, including the Winged Angel, needed wider interpretation. Council documents cite the war as a colonialist enterprise, which does not reflect well on the history of Britain, according to the Daily Telegraph, because it doesn't. David Aronovich writes, our addiction to alcohol isn't a bit of fun. Drink kills nearly twice as many Britons as drugs, and yet we still delude ourselves it's a harmless part of our culture. I mean, he's not wrong, but but he's sort of not right in the right way, if that makes sense. Janice Turner writes some bullshit, including literally writing about dogs' bollocks. If you want to know what's particularly wrong about what she's written today, again, go to brokenbottleboy.substack.com and read today's newsletter. Ian Martin says forget Brexit and build bridges with Europe. Little too late for that. James Marriott says culture snobs find new ways to keep us down. He is a culture snob. He was on the radio this morning talking about how he doesn't watch television. Birthdays today. Roly Keating, the chief executive of the British Library, is 60. Lonnie Anderson, the actress, is 76. Anne Aslett, the chief executive of Elton John's AIDS Foundation, is 57. David Baldacci, the novelist, is 61. Shigeru Ban, the architect of the Cardboard Cathedral in Christchurch, is 64. Billy Bingham, the footballer, until 1963 for Northern Ireland and manager of Northern Ireland in the 60s and the 80s through to 1993, is 90. Joe Boyd, the music producer for Pink Floyd and Fairport Convention, is 79. The Right Reverend Christopher Chesham, the Bishop of Southwark, is 65. Jackie Doyle-Price, the Conservative MP for Thurrock, is 52. Peter Easterbury, the racecourse trainer, is 92. Adrian Fisher, the maze designer and creator of more than 700 mazes, is 70. Christopher Gunning, the composer of the Poirot TV films, 77. Field Marshal Lord Peter Ing, Chief of the Defence Staff until 1997, is 86. Sir Richard Jewson, the chairman of Tritax Big Box and Lord Lieutenant of Norfolk until 2019, is 77. Stephen Knight, the creator of Peaky Blinders, is 62. Maureen McCormack, the actress in The Brady Bunch, is 65. Janet McTeer, the actress, is 60. Lord John Monks, the General Secretary of the European Trade Union Confederation until 2011, is 76. Sir Martin Neri, the chief executive of Barnardo's until 2011, is 66. Rodney Patterson, the yachtsman, double Olympic gold medalist in 1968 and 1972, is 78. Lord John Randall of Uxbridge, the chief executive of the Conservative MP, is 66. He was Conservative MP until 2015. Nikhil Rathi, the chief executive of the Financial Conduct Authority and London Stock Exchange until 2020, is 42. Professor Sue Rigby, the paleontologist and vice-chancellor of Bath Spa University, is 56. Andy Roxburgh, the footballer and manager of Scotland until 1993, is 78. Mark Strong, the actor, is 58. Louis Walsh is 69. Nice. John Whittaker, the equestrian and Olympic silver medalist, is 66. Lily Miskera said, I deleted all TV channels except for the BBC ones. Am I a culture snob? I don't know. Slenkermeyer says, I hate to break it to you, but the history of Britain is mostly fucking awful. Agreed. On this day in 1891, American Express travelers checks were used for the first time. And the last word today in this column goes to Sri Aurobindo, the Indian philosopher, who said, to listen to some devout people, one would imagine that God never laughs. In corrections and clarifications, a caption wrongly stated on August 3rd that the US had landed flights from the US had landed at Heathrow for the first time in more than a year. Flights from the US continued throughout the pandemic. In the world news, tanker crew foiled hijack attempt by Iran's commandos is the claim. Expats in the eye of the firestorm in Greece. They forced me to confess, says leader of Belarus protests. Yeah. Dictator using Iraq migrants as political weapon on EU. Lithuania has appealed for emergency help to stop Belarus using migrants from Iraq as a political weapon against the European Union. There's a nice picture of a tiger paddling through green weeds as it takes a dip at Copenhagen Zoo. Democrats move to impeach Cuomo after sex pest claims. I mean, the claims are pretty watertight. Gift wrapping Arc de Triomphe in the name of art divides Paris. They literally wrapped it in gift wrapping and people are angry about that. Gay couple flee Russia after uproar over diversity advert. A lesbian couple who received death threats after appearing in an advertisement for a supermarket chain have fled to Spain with their family. A chain of health food stores sparked uproar last month after it removed the advertisement featuring an LGBT activist named in Russian media as Yuma, her daughters Mila and Alina, and Alina's girlfriend Kanzenia. We're safe, we're relaxing, Yuma said from Spain. We don't have to hide our joy in being a family. Builders have been hit by spiraling costs. Robinhood share surge halts trading. Uber delivers loss amid driver shortage. Oh, woe for them. I'm playing a tiny violin. Sex pest is a phrase. Can fuck off. Agree with you, Slinkermeyer. Sex offender, sexual abuser. any number of other phrases. Hollywood Anxiety and Me is the cover story of T2 with an interview with Felicity Jones. James Kirkup says, if it's social justice companies want, they should start with their workers. They should, but the way in which it's framed, of course, is dodginess from James Kirkup. And I mean, look at the byline. James fucking Kirkup. I've got really overly warm. Desmond Davis, the British film director who started as a clapper boy on The African Queen and went on to make a box office hit, Clash of the Titans, has died. He was 95. Also in the obits, Lord Elston Morgan, lawyer, politician and zealous campaigner for Welsh devolution who left Plaid Cymru to join Labour under Harold Wilson, and Esther Bejarano, Holocaust survivor who gave poignant talks about her time as an accordion player with the Auschwitz Women's Orchestra, has died. She was 96. Yep, just lovely, just swigging that mustard. In the law pages, Jonathan Ames writes, Laurel Hubbard failed to win, but her inclusion may provoke legal challenges. In a story marked Transgender Athletes Test Sporting Principles. The Times, it can just never stop with that stuff. They're trying to advertise pet hoovers again, and in the sport, City land £100 million Grealish. That is the Times. Give me your scores. For me, it's a classic quintuple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69. Plus 1 point for a couple of good animal stories. And finally, we're going to come to the Daily Mail, and I'm going to do the roll call. All the minus 69s from Slinkermeyer. Same from C122, H122. I'm just going to grab a something to deal with my sudden low blood sugar. I am still here. I will be back in a second. Imagine there is music playing. Do-do-do-do-do. It turns out not properly eating before the show causes me to suddenly have a massive drop in blood sugar. So, that's that. Turns out Diana is dead. Yeah, so, here's a roll call. Whew. In the mod squad, SK the Crusader. In the chat, Academy Impossible, Aiton, C122, H122, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Dr. Festi, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Friar Bentos, Chronotherm, Lady Baskers, Lilith Mythsgeria, Logano9, hey, good to see you, Morin Skell, Ronnie Rosenthal, the ever-excellent Slinkermeyer, Studying Fangirl, Torm Torms, V&K, Virgo Pros, and last but never least, Zoe Brings Bacon, and I hope SK the Crusader will share in the chat when he is next streaming. Good to see that the bit is still going. Love the bit. Sarah Vine on the front page of the Daily Mail slagging off Duchess of Sussex, as she is so often wont to do. If you want to know more about that, do check out today's newsletter in which I cover that. Yeah, main story. Also, Daily Mail trying to imply that over 16s not needing their parents' consent is something new. It is not. Sarah Vine is a horrible bag of shites. The C122, H122. Yes. In the paper, they review Anything Goes and say Felicity Kendall is shipshape. 4 stars for that. SK the Crusader is on tonight from 6 with Studying Fangirl, talking about cults. Incredible scenes. Good. Looking forward to that. Do make sure you catch that. On page 4, 10,000 migrants cross channel in 7 months. Again, more distortion of the figures to make things sound worse than they are. And also to imply that that is a bad thing anyway, which it need not be if we were a more caring country and if we were a country that accepted our responsibilities in the world. Thousands of cats have apparently ill or died from a rare blood illness that has been linked to premium food brands. At least 330 have died, according to the Royal Veterinary College, but the number could be much higher. It's to do with problems with various foods apparently sold by Fold Hill Foods under various brands. It's really horrible. C122, H122 says, don't care for Million Cross. On pages 6 and 7, more is them doing the weird, overtly focused assessment of what's in Meghan's study. Absolutely pathetic scenes. On page 9, more coverage of the Strictly stuff. On pages 10 and 11, Hail Hannah, Queen of the Waves. Sailor lands her 3rd gold on glorious day for Team GB. On pages 12 and 13, it's coverage of Sky Brown's Olympic bronze. On pages 14 and 15, decide for yourselves, kids. More like really like dodgy coverage of the vaccine stuff, including a couple of teenagers who explain why they don't want to get the vaccine. Dr. Paul McKay writes, I understand parents' concerns, but vaccinating is the right thing to do. On page 17, if you don't go fancy going abroad, here's the UK yesterday. And then they cover the stuff about the Spain and France being accessible again. Page 19, Rihanna, the billionaire, star strikes it rich on makeup, not music. More racially tinged stuff there. They bring us more news of the Gooseberry nobbling claims, and they send a reporter to find out who's made a fool of Mr. Gooseberry. Ridiculous scenes. While on the opposite page, Dominic Sambrook talks about the war in Afghanistan with the headline, A Dream That Died in the Dust. Absolutely imperialistic bullshit from, a man who sells that stuff constantly. Stephen Glover is awful. We're not bothering with him today. Why Boris wanted to get Carrie a job with lots of foreign travel. More coverage of Dominic Cummings' claims in The Spectator, a magazine that his wife writes for and is a commissioning editor for, so, not at all. Does Dom Sambrook also eat big dinners? Well, his byline pick certainly implies that, Red Tixie. August 5th, 2021 is the day today. And from the Daily Mail archive, August 5th, 1930. More like a giant battleship than a London building, the new wonder home of the BBC, the Broadcasting House in Portland Place, is already beginning to tower above its tallest neighbours. And like the hold of a ship, it has basements descending nearly 50 feet below the ground. On August 5th, 1966, the Daily Mail wrote, the Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, flew to New York last night for a close look at the Ban the Beatles campaign, which is sweeping the US 1 week before the group's American tour. Radio DJs began burning Fab 4 records after John Lennon was quoted as saying, we are more popular than Jesus now. Inaccurately, of course. Happy birthday to Wanda Ventnam. 86, the actress from Brighton, starred in 2 Carry On films and played Cassandra Trotter's mother Pamela in Only Fools and Horses. And to Adrian Fisher, 70, the world's leading designer of mazes, has created more than 700 of them in 36 countries and has set the record for the world's largest cornfield maze 6 times. In 1988, he got lost while leading Princess Alexandra around his yew tree maze at Leeds Castle in Kent. Also born on this day, Martin Lammy Nairn, who died in 1945. who died in 2020, was born in 1945. London-born graphic designer, was behind BBC One's Globe Hot Air Balloon, BBC Two's series of animated 2s, ITN's title sequence for News at 10, and Channel 4's animated blocks. He also redesigned the BBC logo, oversaw a Blue Peter competition to create the official emblem for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and was co-creator of the puppet satire Spitting Image, but we won't hold that against him. Also born on this day in 1928, died 2016, Carla Lane, the most successful woman writer in British television comedy, created sitcoms Butterflies, Bread and the Liver Birds, and when she sent the script for the pilot of the latter to the BBC's head of comedy, Michael Mills, he wrote back, 6 more by yesterday, love Michael. Former nurse won her first award when a school poem was published in the Liverpool Echo when she was just 7. On this day in 1100, William the Conqueror's son was crowned Henry I in Westminster Abbey, and on this day in 2000, a almost as notable event occurred. 19-year-old singer Craig David notched up his second #1 single in the space of 4 months with 7 days. Quote of the day comes from Harry Cohn, who the US film executive, who says, "I don't have ulcers, I give them." Grim. And joke of the day: what do you call a mugshot taken by a prisoner? A selfie. More pictures of Ant and Dec golfing, a scare story about food, some bullshit about celebrities. On the front cover of the female section, legions of women who saw their drinking skyrocket in lockdown are turning teetotal, and far from missing their party selves, they've joined this year's most aspirational trend. Why, it's now chic to be a sober Easter. Yeah, not drinking, that's now a thing. That's now a sober Easter rather than just someone who doesn't drink, which is great. And, drink, don't drink. Do what makes you happy and is best for you. Oh, God. Is it ever okay to shame someone for their accent? Nabila Ramdani says yes. Show some pride in the heritage of our language. Whereas Rachel Round says, just stop mithering the woman and leave her be. A sober Easter. ISTA, not a sober Easter. Sorry I'm eating bread during this, but my blood sugar went woof, so I'm feeling shaky. As Jab Pioneer is made into a doll, a tribute Barbie is never a badge of honour, writes Julie Bindle. Oh, God. I'm just desperate to find things to be angry about. Elsewhere, Nicole Lampert writes, abuse so bad it leads to insomnia and children bullied at school. As a report says, social media giants are failing to tackle anti-Semitism. One writer bravely shares shocking real-life toll of online trolling. Daisy Buchanan's podcast is recommended. A story about women being fired for having IVF, which is appalling. In the blind date, it's 2 men in the blind date today. Luke 34 and Luca 31. Lucas gave Luke 8 out of 10. Luke gave him 7 out of 10. They both thought they were okay, but neither wanted to see the other as anything more than friends. And today in Ugly Things, the Daily Mail wants to sell you Treasures of Egypt. Wear an ancient symbol of protection and well-being. Copper touch bracelet with genuine Swarovski crystals and rich copper enameling. Yours for just £79.96 from the awful Bradford Exchange, still sending me coins. I don't want coins. In the TV reviews, Remarkable Renovations gets 2 stars. Fake or Fortune gets 4 stars. Pick of the day is I Am Victoria with Surround Jones. In the cartoons, Garfield's hanging out with the mouse and they're looking at cheese. In Chloe and Co., Chloe and her friend are sat down watching TV. And in Fred Bassett, the ball has gone in the pond and Fred lets Yorkie go and get it, facing down some swans, sorry. Today's poem. Oh, God, the poem is so bad. Right. The poem is about if old people went to the Olympics. Olympic Games enthrall the world with awe-inspiring feats. So many countries enter teams of talented athletes. These sportsmen and sportswomen are a very different breed, devoting time establishing the skills that they will need. We watch them striving on TV, amazed at their prowess, while photographs and articles are published in the press. But wouldn't it be wonderful if somehow there could be a different set of lifetime games for older folk like me? When that long walk to reach the shops could possibly win gold, or maybe silver or the bronze for coping being old. That is Sheila Chisnell of Brixham. And the limerick today comes from I.G. Fenner, who writes, though Boris is known to be jolly, there are times when he looks a right wally, and he did it again in the wind and the rain when he couldn't control his big brolly. Aha. Oh, God. Yes. I hate the written word too, C122H122. Unfortunately, it's the only way I make my cash. In the straight to the point letters, Alan Jacobs says, no jab, no job. It's dictatorship by the back door. Amanda Yates says, so uplifting to read about a strapless bar for busty women. The undergarment has good points, and with firm foundations, the business should bounce along nicely. Ugh. E. Fifield says, skateboarding and BMX are Olympic sports, so why not jousting? Mrs. Wright, no relation, says, I won't watch Take Off with Bradley and Holly. Just like The Wheel and the Void, this game show is noisy with a braying audience and a certain type of contestant. You fucking hell. Piers Minnell says, why should I put my money on Boris? What should I put my money on? Boris fixing the care crisis or Pretty solving the Channel migrant problem? I think I'll play it safe and get a lottery ticket. Let's go the Crusader. Why not jousting, I wonder? Chronotherm. No one has done it since 1500. Mickey Smith says, I'd like to see the Cutlery's Racist Brigade eating blancmange or mash with their fingers. Fuck off. Name and address supplied says, how to end a cold call from a double glazing salesman. Tell him you don't have any windows. Oh, God. Just send it to your family on WhatsApp so they could ignore it. Marilyn Feinster writes, finally, there's a good approach in Melbourne to dealing with mobile phone obsession. Look up is painted on the pavement, and a few yards later is the sign, feel better? Oh, fucking hell. Dr. Festi, needing certain vaccinations for jobs, honestly, is not a new thing. Why are people treating it as a new thing? For example, if you want to work in dentistry, you need to have a hepatitis B vaccination. If you don't have that, you're not safe and you can't have the job. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Today's recipe is a Buddha bowl salad. It looks fine. They're trying to get you to go on a cruise to see the snow monkeys and other stuff in Japan. They're trying to sell you Manuka honey. Debbie McGee, the lovely Debbie McGee, is trying to sell you a new kitchen. There's a knockoff Fitbit for sale. Ruth and Eamon still selling that vibrating pad for better circulation. Aye, really. In the sports, they obviously talk about Jack Grealish and Sky Brown. And on the back page of the sport, the agony and the ecstasy, heartbreaking end to Cats games, but our Golden Girls in sailing push GB up to 4th in the medal table, and England flops, batsmen blown away by ruthless Indians. That's not at all racially coded, is it? Right, that was the Daily Mail. Give me your scores, please. Thank you again for joining me for this episode 68. Tomorrow, do make sure you tune in tomorrow for the final ordinary episode of Season 4. There'll be a bonus episode at the weekend, but Season 4 ends tomorrow. It is our finale of Season 4 before I return on the 23rd of September with Season 5, which will have a whole load of new stuff. Hopefully, if I can persuade Geds, Geds said he would help me make all the automated stuff work. Anyway, in the meantime, if you want to help support the show, I'm going... 23rd of August, sorry, Chronothum, thank you. I'll be back on the 23rd of August for the start of Season 5. In the meantime, I will be on holiday, but there's 2 more shows to go before that. But if you want to support the show, please go to paypal.me/conquest of the useless. Thank you, Zoe Brings Bacon. Thank you for your scores. Dr. Festi gives the male triple negative nice. Slinker Maya in with a quadruple negative nice. Red Tick Seed triple negative nice. And thank you to Friar Bentos, Slinker Maya, Dr. Festi, all of you. And remember, 6 o'clock tonight for SK the Crusader and Studying Fangirl talking about cults. I will see you tomorrow for the final standard show. And back at the weekend for the bonus episode. If you're watching this on YouTube and all the shows go up on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and do all that other good stuff. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.